be setting up that you might want to take a look at for next week, or at least get them onto your watch list for next week. So again, good afternoon. This is Dennis Wilborn with the How to Make Money Trading Stocks webinar presented by the Active Trend Traders. I want to welcome Michael Bishop from Zurich, Switzerland. Hi, Michael.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Well, I'm doing exceptionally well. At some point in the future, I do expect to get to Switzerland so I can bop around like in the Alps or something there in the summertime, and you can show me around.
Yeah, excellent.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Oh.
Be a real kick. And I like trading the U.S. market. When I know when I was in Germany, I like trading it because I think I could start trading at oh gosh, I want to say early in the afternoon, and before I went to bed at night, the market was then closed or something like that. I can't remember the exact timing.
It's excellent. So 3:30 to 10.
Okay, yeah. So I wasn't wrong. That way you start, then you can go out, have dinner, come back, get ready for bed, and right before you before I would turn out the light, I could check the market. So, hey, all materials that we present are for trading purposes only. Traders should paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. The Active Trend Trading, or the How to Make Money Trading webinar, is meant to be quick-paced and just cover some highlights of what's going on in the market, and then at the same time provide some potential insights. And we also, when we have a aftermarket Monday where we do cover some setups, we'll review those. This past Monday we did not have an aftermarket Monday because Monday was a short week in preparation for Independence Day. A little bit about me. And so here's something I've been thinking about. Expectations must be confirmed by price action to prove valid. And that goes in, basically, even if we're trading mechanical systems, we get a mechanical signal to get in, but if the price action doesn't confirm our expectations, it turns out to be an invalid signal, and therefore it's time to exit that trade. And just keep that in mind. I'll let you chew on that as you work through this weekend. We'll do a market review real quick, then take a look at some stocks and ETFs. As I said, I've got about 3 of them I want to review real quick. So here's where we sit as of July 7th, 2017. Markets are up nicely for the year. Active Trend Trading System is up and high. This is high from last year. And so things are looking pretty good. Now, Michael, as I'm getting up the charts, you said that you were very pleased with some of the strategies you've been trading, which were you were doing some more option type strategies?
Yeah, basically I'm almost flat with core positions and playing volatility and some short-term movements.
Right.
And I'm pleased.
Okay, cool.
It's going well.
So, okay, at the S&P, just taking a look on the dailies on the left, weeklies on the right. Let me get this blown up a little bit with the weeklies. So what are we seeing? We see basically that the S&P has dropped down and finally reconnected with this 50-day moving average, and it's did a nice little rebound here. But where's it rebounding to? Notice, rebounding to resistance that is defined at the 20 and 8-day moving average. The 8 has crossed the 20 in a bearish crossover. We've got basically a little downtrend that's working here as this works in kind of a wedge type pattern or a triangle type pattern. On the TSI, yeah, slightly below the 0 line. Notice we would like to see that a little bit lower for a potential reversal on the S&P. The momentum has dropped into a lower level. Still have the market forecast on the daily basis, the longer term pointing down, and the 2 shorter terms, basically just jiggling around here. So interim wise, we're in a slight short-term downtrend. We did put in a lower high or lower lower here when it dropped through the 50, taking out the support area at the 2420 level. On the weekly chart, it looks a little bit more, it looks interesting also. Negative divergence is in play. potential double top in the momentum, pushing down. The longer term momentum starting to push down, and just kind of a mixed bag on the other two momentum lines, none of which have gotten down into this lower reversal zone where we would like to see it. So how do we want to trade this? We want to trade it basically looking for a potential rebound off of this support here. It's right up against resistance. What we did last week is we actually had gotten up above this resistance, and what did we do? Last Friday we jumped up to that high, and I think that is, nope, that's the 4th. There's the 3rd. We actually sold, or I sold a call on this on either Friday or Monday of this past week. I think it was Monday, when we went up and hit the downtrending resistance line. So we sold a call. We sold a call for our strategy 3, which we closed out, sold it for 95, put that on a conditional order, breaking down 95, bought it back at a dime, so we made about 85 cents on that particular trade. Now the big question is for me right now is, do I want to look at opening a position now or later? But we'll cover that in the next hour when we get into the final hour. David, do you think today is just a bounce as part of the downtrend? Clearly this is looking like a weak type pattern, David, and so until we break back up through this trend line, I'm going to say just call this a bounce back up into the trend line. Where's it of interest to me? It's of interest to me anywhere from where it's at right now, since the moving average is crossed, from where it's at right now up to the trend line. That's where it's of interest to me. And I'd have to throw in this SPY, and I'll do that real quick here. SPY, to show you, what does it look like on the SPY, and as you can see, it hasn't quite made it up to the 8. It's close. We get a little bit of a tick up on the TSI, so in one way, this would be a trigger for a upside trade. However, I'm not going to take the trade if it's dug into this resistance that's defined by the 820. So I hope that was not too verbose an answer to the question that you asked. Let's take a look at in NASDAQ. NASDAQ's a little bit more interesting. We still have just draw this little downtrend in here like that, a little other downtrend here, but we've got basically what would be considered a nice candle pattern where we basically pushed up above it, a nice candle pattern moving up here from a little spinning top doji that was right at support level, and so this would I believe it's a morning star type of formation, where an evening star would be up here at the top, but you get a nice push up into the moving averages. Oftentimes, since the 8 is still below the 20 and the price action is still below the 50, that is functioning as a level of resistance that could in fact hammer us back down and drive us back down towards the 100. Again, operating in the same kind of pattern as we saw with the S&P, but this one's a little bit further along in its process. As you can see over here, the True Strength Index is really pushed down low. It may be searching for this zero line where it's found support, multiple times in the past. And so where's the price action going to be when it gets there? Anywhere from this 55.81, I would say, down to about 54.84. That's where I would anticipate a bounce up. Russell. Russell's been basically behaving better than the other two indexes, as you see on this daily chart. It's come down, hit the 50-day moving average. That's a good thing from the aspect of continuing on into a uptrend. Where's it happening at? Here's an important thing. It's happening in the midsection of this channel. Oftentimes that's indicative of something that's going to spring load and move higher. It still has to bust out the top of this resistance channel, either here and also this smaller one here at the 1430 level. But right now it looks like it wants to bounce here. If this, yeah, it's not quite a not engulfing, but a piercing line to the upside, but it's close. A lot of times you don't get those pure candlestick patterns with the indexes themselves. Again, on a weekly chart, what's going on here? As you can see, clearly defined level of support at 1400, clear defined level of resistance somewhere up in the 1425 to 1428, 1430 level. And so right now, middle of the road, no man's land, nothing really to do with Russell, but be paying attention when it gets at either of those two extremes for a potential move. So Michael, any fast input on what I'm seeing here today?
Well, no, I agree on everything. I mean, it's pretty exciting what happens with. So I have a close eye on Nasdaq and SPY because and the earnings starting around 10 days. I think these three things are really crucial. And for the overall market, I mean, what you see is that basically the uptrend is still in place, except energy looks really bad and all the material related stocks, commodity related stocks, yes, really look bad. I mean, if you look at XLE, for instance, it's pretty.
There we go. What I will take XLE. I will take a look at that momentarily. But here's something that we're seeing working out. You have VIX, which is the VIX, the volatility index for the S&P, but VXN is the volatility index on the NASDAQ 100, and look what's happening here. It has pushed up, not hugely, but it's become more volatile. That's why we're seeing things like on NVDA, on Tesla, some of these tech stocks. Because we're seeing a lot of volatility on those. So just be if you don't. I don't make a lot of judgment calls on these, but I want to know where they're at. But it also lets me, it explains to me why the premiums are looking so good. Now, here's the, this is the energy sector. If we wonder why it is basically in a downtrend. However, it is at the bottom of its trend channel, Michael, so we may get a little bit of a bounce. And what stocks would that, what ETFs would that affect for us? But it's just channeling down and has not made any type of recovery here, although this is looking kind of interesting here in that I've got some straight line downtrend over on the weekly charts, but a little bit of positive divergence here on the daily chart. So we may get a rebound back into here. A thought. But you're absolutely right. Let's see if UCO, which was our oil stock, similar type situation. We got a nice rebound, then we fell back down. So we did not get a repeat of this symmetry that we had earlier in the year. So kind of interesting. So moving along quickly. So I know, Michael, you're selling some premium on some of the tech stocks, and we were just talking about this briefly. NVDA is a perfect example. Right now, and I'll throw this out as an idea. It is not a recommendation or a suggestion on on the stock. But right now, NVDA is priced out at about $146 per share. You could literally turn around and sell the 147, so that would be 85 cents away. The 147 call at 285, and 285 or 290 divided by the 146.14. That would give you about a 1.9% gain if it was called away from you, a little bit better than 2% in a week's time. So that's what we're seeing. The volatility in these weekly options is moving higher. So that's what you're primarily doing right now, right, Michael? Selling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And in the last weeks there were so many. I say for the whole year there were a lot of opportunities in the commodity area.
Right.
And now it's tech is certainly the most attractive.
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly, but you got to be quick on it.
And the other area is retail. Retail and also some banking. It's not the volatility is now down a little bit, but
yeah.
KRE did a good job, and Costco.
Okay.
XRT.
One of the things I'm noting right now is that the market is lending itself more to swing type trades, which is basically just a few days to no more than a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because they're really quick moves, and so you need to be using conditional orders. When I put out the alerts, I basically will highlight where my profit targets are, where my hard stops are, and I'm hoping folks are using that information of how I'm trading it to set up their own, not as a recommendation, but just as, purely, account preservation, because this morning I get an email from one of our members who said on the Nugget trade, well, we had a hard stop on Nugget at 27.40. And it got taken out this morning, and I mean I hate it when somebody not calls but sends me an email to say, should I get out of the position now? And it's $1 below where our stop loss was. And so anyway, hey, ETFs I'm looking at. Nugget, it wants to turn, but get into that seasonality. It isn't a downtrend. UCO, seasonal run up. We got over 12%. We closed that out for combined profit of a little bit over 11%. Dynamic duo, Tesla and NVDA, upside, downside. That's what we're looking at. I'm going to be looking at three charts here momentarily. Remember the reality of trend trading. First, know the trend. Define the area of interest or value to you, where you're going to take action. We're going to continue emphasizing that through the years, through the rest of the year, so you can develop those conditional orders, get them in place, define your triggers, strategy, and targets you're going to be utilizing. Here's where we're sitting as of the active trend trading is up about 19%. Here's the strategies, how they're doing. And then gold seasonality. I'm waiting for July. Is gold seasonality going to kick in and drive it up the way it's done over the past 40 years? We shall see. Okay, so let's take a real quick look at three charts that I'm looking at. One, NVDA. I am looking at NVDA in that it has held that 50-day moving average. So somewhere between this 140 level and above this 147, up above the 20-day moving average, that may provide an entry either for an option or a buying the stock itself. NVDA moves nicely on a daily basis, and so sometimes you can use it for a real quick daily swing trade, but we have to wait till we get into support. We're getting a TSI tick up today. but again, it's ticking up right into a resistance area. So we'll see on the intraday chart whether that it'll shake loose from that. CR, then let's see, the other one I was looking at is the opposite, Tesla. I wanted to show you what the differences are here. One, Tesla blew past its 50-day moving average. My sense on Tesla now is I want to trade it to the downside. However, I may get a bounce to recover because it is extended away from the 50 and the 20 and the 8. So I may get a bounce here because it is so far extended back up into the 820, but it is rapidly falling. The 8 crossed the 20. It looks like the 8's going to cross the 50 shortly. And so this is the first time that that has happened, and that crossing pattern has happened since way back over here where we got to pull back into the 50. Hasn't been below the 50 for very long, since, oh gosh, going back here to August of last year. But you can see once it dropped that 50, it went, it went bonkers. And so what am I looking for? Again, real quick, perhaps a breakup back into here, or the moving average is getting down to this area, and then lower high, reversal, and drop. And that's the way I'm going to be, looking to trade Tesla. And then one that I'll be adding to it, and I'll be watching over the weekend, is CRUS. This was looking good earlier in the day. That's why sometimes earlier in the day you're sitting there going, oh, this looks really good. Doesn't look quite as good as what it did earlier in the day, in that, earlier today it had gotten up above the 64 level. And so we'll see how this holds up. It does, it appears to be trying to hammer out a bottom. I heard about 62. And so, I'm keeping my eye on this, because from 62 back up to its past highs is about a 15% run. Is it going to do that? I don't know. It needs to get back above the 50-day moving average. And so at this point, I can see, hey, putting in an order to buy if at 64.40 or down at 62.48, 62.40, 50, with a stop loss being immediately below that 61.82 level. Anyway, so okay, I wanted to just shoot that out to you guys so everybody be aware of this is what I'm looking for. So Michael, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Have a nice weekend.
I shall. I'm going to be working renovation on the house again and still. So for the premium members, we'll be with you here shortly, right up straight up 12 o'clock. And from my house to yours, until Monday, aloha. Trade wisely and profitably. God bless everybody. Have a great weekend. See you, Michael.
Bye.